Hey, welcome back to the Life Be Lifing podcast. I'm your host, Coach Emery Cannon. Today, I have a very special guest. I have a counselor for the Rockwood School District. Her name is Karisa Leathers. You might remember the name Leathers from one of my previous episodes. This is his lovely wife. Speak
Hello.
with us today. How are you doing?
I'm just fine.
Great. Hey, so you are a school counselor.
Yes, sir.
You know what's great about that? My mom was a school counselor for the St. Louis School District. Now, you're with the Rockwood School District. Is that right?
Yes.
And how did you get started in that?
I started my education program probably about 14 years ago, and I noticed I was making connections really easily with some of the more at-risk students. And so in the back of my mind, I was always thinking, dude, I think I can really do this. I can help these kiddos. And that's kind of what got it going.
Okay. So have you always been a school counselor? What started first?
When I originally got my degree, it was in high school business and computers.
Okay.
So I taught high school business and computers for about 5 years.
Okay.
And then, well, before that, I did 1 year at Boys Town. Then I did the 5 years of the high school. And then that's when I started. I was doing even better, making those connections with the special ed kids, and just giving them a little extra attention was going a long way. So it got the ball rolling, and then I slowly transitioned. I thought, well, maybe I'll start with some special education. I worked on getting my new certification in special ed. So I did elementary, K through third.
Okay.
For about 5 years. I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to get my counseling degree. And I did. And I'm so happy.
I remember as a child when my mom was getting her counseling degree, she got it down at UMSL, University of Missouri St. Louis, and I remember being a kid sitting outside the classes and just wandering around for 2 hours or 3 hours while she was getting her master's in this. And I probably know every inch of the UMSL school district, so I definitely can appreciate all educators, all counselors. And I have a deep appreciation for you, and I appreciate all that you do out there. But I heard that you mentioned earlier that you worked with Boys Town. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yes. My very first year after graduating with my undergrad, I was hired as a teacher for a Boys Town campus, and it was a lot.
Yes.
It was really scary, but I think that I made some really good impact on a lot of different students. And I really feel like that's the year that kind of shaped the educator that I am today.
Really? How so?
I worked with several different age groups. They had the children broken into different cottages based on ages and boy and girl. And I mostly worked with the boys. I worked with 6 through probably 12-year-olds, and then I've also worked with the cottages that had some of the high school boys. They've had all kinds of traumas. Some of them were there appointed by the court to serve kind of like a community service type situations too.
Okay.
Some was a daytime treatment. Every single child everything I did was so individualized.
Yes.
And you had to be on your feet thinking and completely flexible and adaptable. And I think having to do that for a year and a half and then going into public school with typical developing students, it made me more patient.
Okay.
And
we need a lot of that, especially with these kids.
patience.
We definitely need a lot of patience.
Yes.
But go ahead.
No, it made me more patient, and then it made me be a better communicator with the students. I think that there's in a mindset where some teachers would talk at students instead of with students, and letting the kids feel like their voices is being heard.
Correct.
That is a great way to start the foundation, because they're not going to learn if they don't feel like
they're part of
it.
Yes, I definitely understand that.
I think that year, as difficult as it may have been, it really shaped the educator I am right now.
Absolutely. Man, that sounds like an incredible journey right there. How do you think that has molded you into because were you a counselor then?
No. Then I was focused more on the middle school age and the high school age because of my state certification. But being in the predicaments that we were in, I was just throwing all kinds of life lessons at them to get them as much out of their day as they could.
Correct.
Because that was, unless we were on lockdown, that was the only time out of their building that they really got.
Okay.
So I wanted that to be a good experience as much as I could.
Okay.
Yeah. So
did that help shape you for who you are today, as you said earlier? Now, who are you today?
I'm a lot.
Tell us tell us what's the most interesting thing right now about you.
Right now, I am a mom of 3 girls.
Congratulations.
Thank you. They are 5, 9, and nearly 20. Yeah, so I think balancing being a very busy mom with 3 wonderful girls, a full-time job, and just being social and being out there, like balancing all of that, I think that's what keeps people interesting, is still trying to figure out yourself and being able to control all that.
I believe in a work-life balance. One of the reasons I became a life coach is because I've seen both sides, where either you're working so hard that you forget you have a life, or you're working so much you don't have time for a life. And there is a balance with both. And that was you just reminded me, and that's the reason, that's what started my passions. Because I remember when I first got into sales, I was working 9 to 9 every day, so I had to leave the house at about 8:15. I didn't get home till almost 10, and so there was no balance there. And now I have a lot more balance, and I'm able to help people find their balance. And it's really, really about what your passions are and what you want to do. And it sounds like you're in what you want to do. What would you say was a difficult task, what you do now? Like the most difficult?
The most difficult, not being able to scoop up some of these kiddos and just bring them home with me.
Yeah.
That you really do. You would not believe how much some of these kids have gone through and how resilient they are. And it just really makes you think about everything that you have and are grateful for. It could be so different.
Absolutely. Like you have to take a look, step back when you're in your shoes and say, I'm so happy that I was able to have the path that I have, because everybody doesn't get the opportunity.
Yeah.
So can you think of one specific moment that you had to overcome an objection in real time, where this happened, I figured out this is what I had to do? And I'm sure you can come up with a lot of them in the school, but which one do you think would be best for like a teacher coming up, or a counselor, or even a principal looking at their staff saying, I'm going to work on this so that they don't have to go through this?
I think the biggest thing I try to do right now is be there for the teacher and the student. I think that sometimes educators, teachers, specialists, you're so in the groove and you've got that one kiddo that's just like pushing your buttons and driving you crazy.
I was that student.
And you just like, you gotta take that step back. And so if I can see that, I can kind of like, okay, let's figure out why you're pushing your teacher's buttons.
Yeah.
And I can take that kiddo, like, let's go take a walk with Miss Leathers, or let's go have a minute, and let's give your teacher a minute.
Yeah.
So that they can have that moment to breathe. So
like a mediator.
Yeah, kind of like a mediator between the student and the teacher. I would really love for teachers to advocate for that more.
Yeah.
So I've been trying, like, here's my number in case you don't get me, in my room. You feel like you need that break coming, message me and I will be there. Because there are times where we're all human and we're teachers and we need just a moment. Just give me 5 minutes, or let me come cover your class so you can go take a 5-minute bathroom break or something. And I think that that's really important. Ask for that. Take that help. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to be Superwoman.
So is it a way that maybe, I guess I always thought there was like nowadays, and back when it was just one teacher back then, but I always thought they had like teacher aides for that. Do they not have that anymore?
We do have classroom assistants, and we have what's called a paraprofessional for our special education kids.
Okay.
So the paras are not, they are usually assigned to help the special education child. The classroom assistants go wherever they are needed, but there are so few of them.
Gotcha. It's not enough.
Yeah.
You can't get one to every room every time.
But I will say I am so blessed in the building I am at. We have an amazing admin, we have amazing staff, and everyone is just ready to drop everything and help where they need to go.
Absolutely.
So I couldn't ask for a better position where I'm at.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And even though everybody doesn't have that same kind of dynamic, what would be, as a closing, what would be like your gift to what you do to give advice to somebody out there that doesn't have the exact same situations, but you thought of this and this is what I think will help everybody?
I think that communication piece. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in what we're doing. Even if you aren't blessed to have what I have, you have the pieces there. So go ahead and be that advocate for yourself and those kids, because if you don't do it, nobody else is going to. Absolutely. Go seek that out. And I think you would be surprised at who is there and willing to help.
I totally agree. And I think any situation with any teacher, I think we all need that break that she's talking about, and don't be afraid to take that break, because life is going to be life, and not only for you, but also your principals and your students. So their life is always life, and when they leave you, they go home, and you don't know the home situation all the way. You may have an idea, but students have a hard life just as well as the teachers do, and just as well as the principals. So never forget that everybody's going through something. So while life is life, and make sure you're coming up with the best results you can that will give you the best outcome for your students, for yourself, and for the agency that you work for. We really appreciate you coming out, giving us some great information. I am humbly ecstatic that you came. I couldn't wait to talk to you. I love talking to counselors. Like I said, it just reminds me so much of when my mom was, counseling back in the St. Louis Board of Education. So I really appreciate you. I don't think teachers or principals or counselors get enough praise for all that they do. You do an amazing job, and we really appreciate you. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. And sorry about that. I had a little cold there earlier this week, so I'm trying to get over it. But I really appreciate you guys listening to us. And as always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us at www.cannonsalestraining.com. Don't hesitate to reach out to me, 314. Know all about it. And don't forget to go on Amazon, get the book Because Life Be Life, and tune in here each and every Sunday so that we can get you taken care of. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming in and tuning in. Have a great day. Bye for now.